Welcome back to the show, everyone. I greatly enjoyed your 10 things list. The only thing I think I would have put on it was Monster. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that one, but it's about a guy who he's a doctor and saves his kid's life and grows up to be a serial killer, so he's trying to hunt him down. It is messed up, but it's great.
It sounds messed
That's
up.
news to me. That's
So,
amazing,
welcome
though.
back to the show. As you can see, we have Alice on. Alice, come in a little bit. You're just all over there like,
There
don't
we
love
go.
us.
I'm sorry, I have a big
Alice
personal
is
I
our-
showered.
One of our resident anime lovers, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to get her on screen because you see her as part of the Stream Queens with Courtney and have lots of fun. But we're also joined today by some amazing guests from CrunchyRoll, and you heard us gushing about CrunchyRoll a little while ago. So let's welcome our guests. How are you guys today?
We're fantastic.
Right.
How are you guys?
We're awake. So introduce yourselves to everyone who's watching the show.
I'm Miles Thomas. I am an analyst on the brand and community team here at CrunchyRoll.
And I'm Evan Mento. I'm a software engineer on the engineering team here. And I also host the CrunchyCast, which is our official podcast.
Yeah, the CrunchyCast is always fun to watch because sometimes I don't always agree with you guys, like your hates of dubs. And because, like I said earlier in the show, I watch anime late at night when I'm really tired because I really want to watch it, but I can't read because my eyes go bloop.
That'll do it.
Right?
I'm a bit of a dub sympathizer. There's some good dubs out there.
It's easier to multitask with
Yeah.
the dub.
It is so much easier to do that. But, like Cameron brought up earlier, they do some weird edits in them.
Yeah, well, at least the past ones used to. They used to have these weird, I would watch the fan sub way back when a VHS, dating myself, was the only way to get your anime. And then I would see the English one, and I'm like, he didn't say that in the original, and I'd go back and watch it, and like, they completely changed it. He said nothing like that. But nowadays, it's a lot better once they get to a dubbed version. They stick pretty close.
Yeah, there's a lot more, I think, awareness of anime and just more fans of it here, I think, than there used to be. And so there's less of a risk to putting something out that's the original, and you don't need to appeal to this mainstream audience that's never heard of it.
Right.
But it's interesting. There was this, Evan and I both
Yeah.
watched really old-fashioned dubbed. It's Glitter Force. It's this
on
new
Netflix,
anime on
yeah.
Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard you guys talk about Glitter Force before.
I'm
Yeah,
sadly
Smile
watching
pretty
that.
quick.
I couldn't make
Turned
it past
into
the
an American
first
version.
episode. Sorry.
So
Everyone's got,
it's
like-
funny when Kim talks about VHS because I have owned Dragon Ball Z on every form of media.
Betamax?
Oh, no.
That's how much I love Dragon Ball Z. I had the VHS, then I upgraded to the DVDs, then I had some of it in print, now I have the Blu-rays, and I am just completely set. And
long
I
as
even
you-
have it digitally too.
As long as you didn't go the Laserdisc route.
No, I didn't quite do the Laserdisc route, but yeah, so that's one of the things we were talking about today was because a lot of us, I don't know about you guys, but we grew up with anime when it really started hitting it big. Like my first experience was the Fist of the North Star movie, and I was in love.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely in love with Fist of the North Star movie. And you guys have it on CrunchRoll, and I watched it the other day. I was like, yeah! Plus, they have the series and the Super Deformed series, but I love the movie. And that's what got me into anime, but it was a bunch of different things. It was like Blue Seed, and Akira, and Dragon Ball, and Slayers, and Ranma, and Tenchi. There was this huge variety, and we loved it. But as the 90s and 2000s hit, things got a little weird. It started to be all about schoolgirls and panty shots, and there's a place for that, but I think if it takes over, and it kind of gave the anime industry this pervy feel from the outsiders looking in. Like, we call it the free hugs movement. Every time you go to an anime convention, people wearing free hugs, they're like 15. Okay, I'm not hugging you, you're underage for one, and two, you're dressed as some skanky cat. I just can't do it right now, So today we really want to look at how anime has grown because it's starting to get back into that kick-ass territory and the things that are coming up that are new that we just really love, like Attack on Titan, and I'm a huge fan of Food Wars. I don't know about you guys, but I love Food Wars.
That's my next series.
It is amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is absolutely mind-blowing. Like when they eat the food and meat juices is my favorite line. It's a little pervy, but it's making fun of the pervy side of it. That's the point of it. So I want to start with Kim. Since you've been watching anime, how have you seen it change and the culture behind it kind of go?
Well, I started, again, dating myself way back with the VHS stuff because I grew up in Kentucky. Middle of nowhere, 45 minutes to an hour to get to anywhere that might have like an FYE, something like
that's
that.
dating
that
ourselves too.
Well, there's an FYE in the local mall here, so it's not really that much dating myself.
If you would have said Suncoast, we would have been done.
Okay, then I won't say Suncoast. But it took forever for me to go somewhere that would possibly have it. And a VHS, I feel like I'm the old man right now saying I walked 10 miles through the snow just to go to school. But I literally drove 45 minutes to an hour one way to buy a $35 VHS that had like 1 or 2 episodes on it of Ranma 1/2. Because that was the only place that I could ever find it. Because I never grew up in a big city. But now, I can just order it off the internet. I could have it delivered to me. I could stream it from CrunchyRoll, sit on my bed, my couch. I could walk around with my tablet and have it in the middle of the desert as long as I've got cell signal. I can watch anime anywhere I want to. It's a huge jump from the way it used to be.
And I think that's helped kind of even out the industry, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because you get exposed to more things, and they're realizing, hey, we grow up. I wouldn't let my son watch some of the things on there because I want him to have a good experience with it. I don't want him to turn into because one of the things people look at is like the body pillows and the things like that give anime a bad name. Yeah. So before I get to you, I want to get to the CrunchyRoll guys. What has been your experience since you started with anime to now, and how you see it changing? Because you guys deal with way more than we do because you're part of an anime streaming service.
We've pretty much given our souls over to anime at this point.
Right.
Miles and I are about the same age, so we probably have a somewhat similar story here. I started with Pokemon.
Me too, yep.
Yeah. So, and a lot of like Toonami stuff was my exposure to it, and I know a lot of people got into that, and I think that's actually kind of ties back to your conversation about there being this shift, and part of the shift I think is it's not so much about what was coming out in Japan, but about what was being brought over here.
So accessibility.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's with more accessibility on television and with more young people getting into it, and especially actually a lot more young women getting into anime. There ended up being a greater focus on things that Japan was already doing, but we just didn't see here, like shoujo manga, for example, like stuff in Borders and that whole boom at the time.
Which didn't happen in the 80s. You only got...
Right.
Like even the fan subs things in the 80s, the VHS tapes that were like 5th generation, it was all like Fist of the North Star or sci-fi.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah, like shoujo romance and things. But like, for me, I think a lot of it was finding that stuff on TV that was still sort of in the same trajectory as that science fiction stuff. So things like Outlaw Star and Gundam Wing or Rurouni Kenshin, not sci-fi but action, historical, and through that. And I ended up discovering this other world, and that's what was really fascinating was the breadth of stuff going on in anime, that there were romance stories and like historical dramas and things like Monster, like what you mentioned. And that just sort of got me even more interested in it, that there was so much going on.
Yeah, I really do view anime more as a medium, and so being able to see the diversity, I mean, in the last year alone, 175 different anime came out in Japan.
Right.
That's not including continuing things like Naruto and One Piece. Like, there's a lot of animes, so even if there's this giant category of anime that I'm not interested in, there's a brand new Lupin series, which is...
I'm so excited!
Things like that. So it's been really nice to be able to go from one genre to another genre and just different worlds meant for different audiences, but I just take it all in.
So, Alice, since you started experiencing anime, not experimenting with anime.
Experimenting with anime?
How have you seen it
It was
grow?
experimentation.
Because pretty much, this side of the table's been, hey, we had VHS that we had to, take care of.
Well, it started at camp when I was 8. There was this crazy old man in the corner of the room. No,
It
it
sounds like an
actually
anime in and of itself right there.
It actually did start at camp when I was 8 because they used to play the old Sailor Moon episodes. They used to have that on the channel, and I just used to be so transfixed on that series. I'm like, I wonder what this is. This can't be a normal cartoon. And then I was introduced to Ranma 1/2 and
Ranma 1/2 is
Inuyasha
lots of
and
fun.
Oh yeah.
of course Dragon Ball Z because that was what was on Toonami at the time, and Yu Yu Hakusho, stuff like that. And then I went to college and fell into the harem hole.
Yeah, so one of the things that I laugh at is they brought up a really good point. Toonami was a big introduction to anime for a lot of people. But when that was happening, my friends and I have some friends that are super hardcore anime freaks. But when we go to like these anime conventions, there was that weird division line of, oh, well, you only saw it on Toonami. You're not like
Yeah.
a true anime fan.
That's actually what I was thinking of because I was going to conventions since '98, and then I felt the shift when it became mainstream, and all these little kids were coming in. I'm just like, you don't know what anime is. You don't know what I went through to get anime. It's like you just watch it on TV. It just felt like this huge shift in a fight. Like there was like some coming over from one hill and some coming from the other hill, and there's going to be a battle in the middle with swords and tentacle monsters. It was going to be horrible.
But I think that's great. That's what I love about anime is that it hasn't turned into this closed garden of just like only for us. It's that new people keep coming in all the time, and there's always like new young fans. And every time I come to a con and there's like 13-year-old kids there, I'm like, that's awesome. They're gonna be fans. They're gonna like be into this stuff and hopefully stay with it for a while. And they'll be me eventually, right?
And I also think we're seeing like this second kind of wave of that where anime's getting close to being mainstream again with things like Attack on Titan, and then also new avenues for watching it like CrunchyRoll or Hulu.
Not to mention like media outlets that are covering it in different ways. Yeah.
IGN posted about Shirobako of all things yesterday, and that just blew my mind because that's one of the most read websites there is. So. It's exciting.
I love the fact that you put it the way where these new people are being able to come in because there's not that division anymore.
No.
And there's starting to be more of a variety in what you can watch, and it's not like you're just watching all these things that kids may be uncomfortable with, or like as much as I loved High School of the Dead, there was no need for that sniper shot with the panty and the no. There was no need. It was awesomely done.
It's the only part of the show I've seen.
But seriously, there was no need for that.
What series is this again?
High School of the Dead. It was a great series, but they took things to an extreme. And now I love the fact that we're getting back to the awesomeness, like the remake of Ushio and Tora, the new Sailor Moon. We have Food Wars. We have all these, like God Eater. All these awesome freaking animes are now coming out. And it is one of the best mediums because we don't get cartoons like that over here. I mean, as much as I love Adventure Time.
And how dare you call it a cartoon, sir? How dare you?
I'm sorry. They usually take more time with their cartoons than anime. But we don't get that caliber of stuff over here because everything over here seems to have to be dumbed down. But animation is a medium where you can tell amazing things. And there are some stories in anime that are just absolutely amazing that would never see the light of day over here.
Yeah, it's all about what the market is. Here we consider a cartoon to be for kids only. And it has to be like Tweety Bird and Bugs Bunny and that kind of a thing.
Tweety Bird can die.
Yeah.
What is Tweety Bird, like 18 already?
Yeah, that's the longest living genetically engineered bird out there.
How do we know okay, we're not talking about, I'm not wasting more time on Tweety Bird. That's the worst character ever. But from the CrunchyRoll side of things, you said there's so many new animes being made in Japan every year. How do you decide what's going to be really good for over here or not?
I mean, our policy is we bid on literally everything that comes out. So that means we're bidding on 60 to 70 shows every quarter.
Because that's sort of where the fandom is now. It's
they
like
want
people want to see everything. Yeah.
Like there's this anime about marble statues being idols. We had to get that no matter how many or few people watch it. Just because our audience wants to be able to have the same experience as the Japanese. And so we bid on everything. We don't get everything. We get most things. But that means we have this giant diversity. Like we've got shows this season about a nurse witch. We've got shows this season.
That's a remake. Oh, yeah.
We've got like
Moogie, I think.
Yeah. It's back.
I gotta watch that.
It's back. And we have shows about like this classical Japanese style of storytelling.
We have a romance about an oblivious guy who loves marshmallows.
We got
the story of
they were talking about that.
Mantis marshmallows. Yeah.
I haven't heard of that.
And so it doesn't even like. We have Erased. Erased is this like primetime Japanese television show that just happens to be animated and it's gorgeously directed and
mystery drama. Yeah.
And so being able just a CrunchRoll subscription is like having access to an entire range of channels, and it's really cool.
Which I love. I was happy to plop down my monthly subscription because I started getting back into anime. And that's how we started our segment, Return to Anime, but we just kind of shifted over to looking at fun anime. But the whole idea that it's becoming this new media and it's now more accessible and it's now balancing itself out, like Pocky said earlier in the show, the lunatics aren't running the asylum, is kind of how he likes to put it. It's not the fanboys writing all the stories. I think there's still a battle that has to be raged from people on the outside looking inside who only see, like, the body pillow thing, or the people who talk to pictures of anime wives. What do they call it? Waifu.
Waifus.
You know, I
Those
think
things
there's
are good. It's just that shouldn't be the only way that anime fans are perceived.
And
Like,
I think it's helpful that there are things like Attack on Titan because
and
I
One
mean,
Punch Man.
Yeah, because like we've been in this fandom for a while and like pretty active in it, and I think that some of those shows have been there and they've just sort of gone under the radar because there haven't been big tent poles like things like Attack on Titan and One Punch Man bring attention to them, and so anime is sort of like people have seen just the because of the access, people have seen this sea of stuff that looks unappealing and have been unable to like pick out the stuff that actually they might like.
But now you can go on Hulu, and if you hit the most popular tab on Hulu of all things, One Punch Man and Naruto are above Saturday Night Live.
that's
like,
amazing.
that's the world we live in now. So I just think this is a really good time to be an anime fan.
I think it is. It's an amazing time, and I know we love anime, but we're almost out of time with you guys. So, last minute thoughts, questions for them.
I started watching, listening to the Crunchy Cast, and I want to see Salaryman Naruto. That's the one thing I really want to see.
Salaryman Naruto would be pretty good, like throwing the business cards instead of shuriken. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's made in 12-point font. It's gonna be like American Psycho-ish.
Yeah.
Going back to your
Thanks,
previous
Felicity.
statement, I am not a fan of the new Sailor Moon.
Okay, is it because it's kind of lazily drawn for broadcast and not so much for the Blu-ray
Not
release,
so
or-
much because they took their strongest fighter and gave her noodle arms.
Noodle arms.
She's all, I got noodles for
That's One
arms. So I want to thank you guys for being on our show and talking about anime with us. It's good to know that there's people like you behind a great service that's going to help this, industry and genre find a better footing. You guys do an amazing job on your podcast. I think it's hilarious, but I do think you need more dubs. I'm just going to say that right now.
Noted.
Yeah, I've listened to you guys argue about dubs before, and it's like I'm the devil for saying I like dubs, but I have to multitask a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of switch over to the English just so I can like vacuum and everything else.
But I will ask you this last question. What did you think of the live-action Attack on Titan movie?
Oh, I was in the theater where it was stuck on the subtitles the whole time, so I never got to finish it.
I actually watched the other one. I thought I liked the aspects of it. I think it improved on some of the things that I didn't like about the Attack on Titan TV series, but also fell on its face in some other areas. So it's kind of a wash.
Yeah,
Like,
it
Mikasa
looked
didn't seem that
beautiful,
strong.
but
It
I
looked
couldn't
great.
finish it. I love the series so much. I can't believe there was no Levi, stuff like that. So I was pretty much going into it going, this is going to suck. But they had some interesting storyboarding and some really good designs in it. But last question, what is the best live-action anime movie you've seen? We'll start with April.
April?
Alice. I keep calling you Alice.
I was waiting for that. I was
Wow,
like,
Alice.
wait a minute.
Favorite live-action anime movie?
Oh, geez. I like the Death Note movie. I was a big fan of the Death Note movie, live action. That one was kind of my first live action anime movie, too.
Kim?
I'm going to have to agree. That was going to be my answer, but you kind of took it before me. That's okay. We can share it.
Our
It is
guest, what was your
shareable.
favorite live-action anime movie?
I'm really partial to the Mushishi live-action movie.
right.
That one is almost as pretty, if not more pretty, than the anime.
I'm also going to go with the Japanese one because, I mean, I like the Speed Racer movie, but it's not my favorite.
I
My favorite,
love the
my
Speed
favorite
Racer
is
movie.
probably the Ping Pong live-action movie.
Oh.
There's a new TV series based on the same manga that's also very good, but the movie's really good. I saw that back in college.
Well, he's my friend because he likes the Speed Racer movie. I love that movie. I watch it at least once a week. But I would have to say my favorite live-action anime would be Gantz. Wasn't a huge fan of the series, but I liked how they handled the movie. So that's it for our talk with the CrunchRoll guys. Thank you guys immensely for being on. You can go to CrunchyRoll.com. Make sure you get a subscription because you're going to want it. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to find something that you're going to want.
No, close your teeth, grit your teeth like a grill. I will carry you myself through the gates of Valhalla.
Sucks!